probably need. Did you tweet this out to the people? To the masses?
It is currently live streaming on Twitter, on the Twitter.
Oh, on the Twitter, on the Twitter, on the X.
Yeah,
I'll never call it that.
No,
except in a sarcastic manner.
Yeah, who's going to call it that? Freaking even Nintendo pulled the ability to put your Switch shit on there, which I think is pretty funny.
Your Switch shit.
Switch shit. All right, here we go. Counting it down and in 3, 2, 1.
If they ruined your world, forced your people into slavery, tortured you for your tears, made brew out of your bones, you'd pray for a hero too. But sometimes you take what you can get. It's time to save Oddworld again.
Oddworld, Exoddus.
Wow.
Was that Popeye then?
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Whoa, that didn't work. Hold on.
Louder and faster.
That was really loud. I don't know what happened there. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Play Retro. I am one of your hosts, Scott Johnson. And look, I know when to fart, all right? And I know when to yell. And I know when to make a bunch of other little noises. Those little gunhead guys can eat poo and F right off. I am here from Oddworld and ready to tear this place up.
Wow. And I'm your other host, Brian Dunaway. And hello. Follow me. Sorry. And then things got really odd when I read that this drink is made from the tears of my people. Salty. 3-finger salute. Follow me to your death. Right? Lululu. That's one game.
Lululu.
But it's enchanted. Lululu.
Yeah, they got a version of the Lululu in this game.
Yeah, this has got a couple of this does have some crossover with some Age of Empires, believe it or not. I have it in my head.
Oh, interesting.
I'll share it with you.
You know, it's got a big Utah connection there. This company that made
Utah connection.
I can't remember if they made the whole game dev was here or if just the CGI people were here. I can't remember, but there was some connection like that at the time.
Right.
Anyway, we're talking about the Oddworld games, specifically the first two, Odyssey and Abe's Exoddus, or Abe's Odyssey and Abe's Exoddus, which are both spelled wrong. That's fine.
Yeah, it's a play on odd, right? Yeah. Odd, YC, SEE.
Yeah.
Then Exoddus.
Yeah, Exoddus. Exactly.
Clever.
Listen to this. Here. Was this playing? Oh. Hold on. Oh yeah. Oh. Man, there's sounds in this game that bring me back, dude.
Yeah, this is one of those games that you instantly recognize. We should have done Guess My Game on one of these because wow, that just takes you back instantly.
Yeah, it's a very specific vibe, and it really took me there. Speaking of which, before we get to our main discussion, speaking of a vibe, found a game. A bunch of people recommended it to me. I picked it up last night in the middle of recording Core because it was being so highly recommended. And Metroidvania fans, you're going to want to hear about this. Okay, it is very cool, and it plays 100% perfectly on your Steam Deck. I think it's $22. It is a Metroidvania called Animal Well.
Yes,
and it is a vibe, man. I don't even know how to describe this effing thing. It is so cool, and it's such amazing audio and such a cool vibe to it. It's one of these games, kind of like the original quote-unquote Metroidvanias, maybe even Metroid itself, where they don't tell you a lot. It's just sort of like, here, get in here. Here are the basic controls. Now go. See if you can figure this world out. And this game does that really well. It's like, just go kind of find your thing. And you do.
It's very much the very definition of indie retro, where they use that, that kind of look.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The look of it is what really sold me, though. Animal Well has some of the coolest graphical decisions I have seen in a game in a very long time. So it is pixelated, but it is like the lighting is crazy. There's a firework ability that is like the coolest effect I've seen in a long time. The sound and the music is really next level stuff. In fact, it was kind of the perfect week to be doing Oddworld because Oddworld shares some of that DNA of like, this game is more vibe than it is game in some ways. And this game is definitely a lot of that. Lots of game though too. Here's the cool thing. Here's the part that blew me away. We have already recorded 4 times as much in raw audio format right now, just you and I talking right now, than the size of this game. This thing is like 30 megabytes.
Yeah.
And it is crazy small. I still can't quite believe it. There are plenty of pixel games that are a lot more than this, and this is a full length, Metroidvania game with tons of puzzles and shit to do. And it's amazing, dude. This is a game you're going to want to pick up and play this thing. Yeah, it's very, very cool.
It was on my. It showed up in a lot of my retro news stuff. It's like, oh, this has the flavor you need it, and I'm like, okay. So I've added it to my wish list. I haven't purchased it yet because I didn't get to dig deep into it. But you're showing me footage right now, and I am loving it. I'm loving that he's like brushing underneath like these weeds and stuff, and everything is moving. So it's not just like a stiff old retro game. It's got pixel art, but it's got this fluid nature to it that's very exciting.
It feels like the kind of game that is inspired by old games, but can only be a playable thing now. Like you would only ever play this now, right?
Yeah, and this is a good week to talk about, like you said, because Oddworld, the first two games being 2D, this feels very much like, oh, we're still doing these screen-to-screen games, platforming games in 2024. I thought we was doing that. I thought everything was 3D. No, this is a beautiful use of something that we used to do all the time because we had to, and now we can choose because we want to.
Yeah, it's very, very good. I recommend it very highly. Go check it out. And again, the fact that we're playing a 30 megabyte game just feels like insanity. And the reviews are all like 100%, like everyone's loving it. So anyway, check it out.
I'm loving it.
Great time to be an indie fan. Brian, what did you get up to this week? Anything cool?
Absolutely got up to a bunch of things, but I do want to talk about this just real quick because I didn't get to go to Vegas, but Wabbit had asked me before I left. Wabbit Magic's in our community. He's a great guy.
Great guy.
Love Wabbit Magic.
One of the best.
So he had said, oh, you're not coming to Vegas? Because I had talked about going at one point in time. And he says, well, I made you guys a thing. He made me one. I think he made you one. Ibit, Tom Merritt. It's a little kit, and this one's called a Road Trip. It's a little arcade kit that you purchase, play mini arcade. And he assembled this thing. Takes a little bit of soldering, but the fact that he did it in such loving fashion and as an homage to us is such a great testament to how great Wabbit Magic is. He's a great guy. I love Wabbit.
Yeah, he's great. I got one as well. Love it. My daughter became so enamored with it. She kind of hijacked it.
Yeah.
It's very cool. And there's a ton of games on there. They all play. They actually play. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, you can add more. It's got a little. It's got a USB port. It's called Play Micro Arcade. Is the name of the kit. I think he just did this as a special favor. I probably would have ordered one of these, and it probably would have sat on my soldering bench for probably a year before I would actually ever do it because I'd be like, oh, I need to get to that, and I probably never would. So I appreciate the crap out of that.
Yeah, he's a rubber meets the road kind of guy. He wants to just make it and send it, and he did, and it's awesome, and I love it.
Right.
It also. What do you got there?
Ahead.
What's that?
Oh, so the thing that I was going to talk about, though, is I was going to talk about this StarTech 56K USB dial-up fax modem V.92 external hardware based. Look at that thing.
What are you doing with this?
What the hell are you doing that? I'm starting my own ISP.
Wow.
I'm going to...
Get that. You're going to fire that BBS again and get that going? And
Yeah, I'm getting it fired up, baby. I put it in my... So what I'm really doing here is Sega Dreamcast as Sega Dreamcast and the Sega Saturn. They both have had these community things where people have been basically rebuilding the networks that you used to be able to dial into on these things. And I got kind of excited because I've been playing on my Sega Saturn a lot. But I also know Joey Imogen, who's also part of our group. He's amazing. He's been telling me forever to build a Dream Pi, and I'm like, okay, what is that? You build a little Raspberry Pi, you plug one of these into it. And you can then tell your Dreamcast to dial in like an ISP to your Dream Pi. It answers, and then it translates it and connects to the internet. And then you can play online games with people. What on a Dreamcast?
Wait, hold on. How are you doing? Is it like a lobby type system, or how's it actually matching people up and stuff?
I don't know. I just got the part because I was like, oh, I want to do this, and I'm going to discover it along the way.
Yeah.
But I just knew that this was the first step, and I knew if I ordered this and it came in, I would have no option. That's the reason why I want to talk about the arcade thing too. Sometimes I have to have things in my hand to force me to dig deeper. All I know is that you can play online. I'm assuming there's some servers somewhere that is handling all of that. So we'll just have to see. I think the Sega Saturn, though, unfortunately, didn't come with a built-in modem. So I got to have a cart think it's called like, is it Netlink or am I thinking of a ISP service?
Oh, I don't know.
I can't remember.
Netlink.
I can't remember.
Ooh, Netlink sounds
I know,
like a
that
90. It sounds like a 90s
remember
dial-up.
Earthlink?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Earthlink. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think it's called something like that, you know. And but the Dreamcast is supposed to be pretty slick. I think it's more mature, so I'm probably going to try it first. And then that's one of the reasons why I also ordered this while I was ordering that is the HD cable for the Sega Genesis. And I also ordered, and I thought this is the one I had for the Dreamcast, but no, this is the one I have for the Genesis. But I ordered for both of them now. Look at
Oh,
that little
nice.
hike.
You
Isn't
have
that cute?
everything
Like a
you'll
little
ever
logo.
need. Yeah, look at that. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
HDMI, baby.
Nice.
HDMI, baby.
HDMI with your Genesis. Who would have thought? Who would have guessed?
Yeah.
Who would have
Need
thought
it.
that was even a thing? But it is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, excellent. Nicely done. You're looking at a nice little pickup this week. You also got pretty deep into this decky thing for the emu deck. You want to tell me about that? Because you've piqued my interest. What is this?
So I haven't messed with. I had a friend of mine who recently picked up a Steam Deck, and he's all curious about, well, how do you do this emu deck thing? So he's been getting really deep into it, and using the emulation station. He subscribed to what Screen Scraper. I think for $10 from Patreon, so you can get 5 threads. You can download all not the ROMs, just the graphics, the wallpapers, all that stuff, so you can make it all pretty on your Steam Deck. So he started talking about a bunch of stuff, and I was like, let me dig back in. I haven't just messed with Emu Deck in forever. And I started reading about all this stuff that was going on with Decky, which is like this other layer on top of Emu Deck. And actually, I think it sits on top of the game screen on the Steam Deck. And it allows you to do stuff like screen record, screenshots. You can adjust your all your grid artwork on your Steam Deck, whether it be retro or not, doesn't matter. Allows you to do your startup screens, which I've done a bunch of cool startup screens. You can buy some of those off the Steam store, but some of the community stuff is even cooler because it got like it fires up and it does the PlayStation logo startup. Oh, the GameCube one's cool because it's called Gabe Cube. It looks just like that, except it says Gabe Cube on it. And I'm like, oh, that's cool.
That's freaking great. But so okay, a little bit of front endy stuff. Can it record modern games, or is it just for retro games? The recording feature, screen recording.
It'll record anything on the screen. Of course, you got to the more intense the CPU or GPU is working. The more drops you're going to get, but you should be able to do a good bit. Almost all the retro games I was able to record at 60 frames per second, but some of the newer stuff I haven't really tested yet. But there's Decky's just kind of like a store for or a project front end for all the sub projects underneath there, and I just found the screen recording to be very useful. I found the screenshots and the cloud saves to be extremely useful.
Cloud saves for retro games. That's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I can save all of that. And also there's some front ending for the retro achievements. I'm mission deep on retro achievements, by the way. I'm getting back into my retro achievements. I made a few of them on Exoddus this week, Oddworld Exodus. Very cool. Because I found some hidden stuff, man.
When you say made them, you mean you achieved them. Is that what you mean? Like they're
yeah, I accomplished them. How about that?
Got it.
I achieved them.
Because when you say made them, I wondered if maybe people users can make achievements. I guess they're all user made, right? They're all user made in the end.
Yeah, there's a core group on retro achievements that have defined a bunch of games, but then as a community member, you can get in, you can submit a request to add achievements to games that may not have them, or if you found an achievement you think might work well with the achievements that's already there. So it's a very interactive experience. So there's you can look and see what everybody else has done, and then you also can make your own stuff. But you got to get in there, and it's kind of like, it's this forum where people have the discussion about it, and eventually it gets approved and it gets into the next process. But yeah.
That's
how
cool.
many times can you flirt? I think that should be one of them for Abe's.
Yeah, Abe's Odyssey and Abe's Exoddus. If
flirt.
The guy who farts the most wins. That's the rule.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I'm gonna mess with that. That seemed really cool when you sent it to me, so we're gonna give that a shot.
Yeah, and it gets a little confusing because Decky is not part of Emo Deck, but then there is Emo Decky, which is another level inside of the Decky. So you're gonna inception yourself real quick on this stuff.
Yeah, go down the rabbit holes though. It's worth it.
Mm-hmm. Total fun.
All right, let's get into the game that we are talking about this week first, anyway, and let's do it now.
Shall we play a game?
We shall indeed. The game we're going to play is Oddworld Abe's Odyssey for the PlayStation, DOS, and Windows. Came out in 1997. It was mostly a big deal, I would argue, on PlayStation. Like the PC version and all that stuff, they were fine. It's just nobody thought of them as this was a console game as far as everybody was concerned.
If you think of Oddworld, especially the first two, you're definitely thinking of PlayStation. Sony had a real tight relationship with these guys, Oddworld Inhabitants, and so he was back practically a mascot. You know, Sony didn't have a mascot coming in official, so they picked up a bunch of their first couple of years releases, and they said this kind of represents what we're doing on PlayStation, and Abe was one of them.
Right,
often seen in a lot of advertisement.
It's a weird little platformer. Now, if you remember games like Out of This World, and I still forget the other one that I loved so much. Flash Forward. What was it called?
Flashpoint.
Flashback. That's it.
Flashback. Yeah.
Flashback was one of these kind of games. They were these like side-scrolling, one screen at a time. Often the screen you were on was kind of a puzzle, and you had to figure out your way sort of out of it. How do I climb up, climb down, set off this bomb, do this thing, whatever. This is one of those, like straight up inspiration from those games, and I think to like pretty glorious results. I think these are excellent versions of those games, and to this day they totally hold up. Although, if you're going to play one now, I would probably just get the remastered things. Those are good.
There's a couple of things. They still hold up pretty well, and there's some projects out there that are bringing these particular games to modern. But there's a couple of we've seen some Oddworld things through the 2000 teens. We saw a remake of this one, and so there's definitely more modern ways to play this, but that's not how I played it. No sir. You know how I played it? I played it on my PlayStation Classic, that little mini thing we got, because it didn't come with a lot of games, but one that it did come with was Abe's Odyssey.
Yeah. Would have been nice. Would have been nice if Abe's Exoddus was included, but I'll take the one. It's fine.
You can add it. I mean, Abe's, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but Abe's Exoddus was really just a continuation of the first story. It used the same engine. It just was more of the same of Abe's story. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, if you play this first one, you'll kind of know where we're going.
And Abe's a Mudokon. He's an alien. He's got a knack for trouble. He stumbles upon his boss's evil plan to turn his people into snacks and brews. Like literally, they're going to eat these people. And armed with nothing but his wits and a few little commands where he can say, "Follow me" or "Stay here" or whatever.
Don't forget that he can do this. He can chant.
Yeah,
which is when you first discover, because when you're playing this, when you first start, you're coming from a world of like Prince of Persia, which is screen to screen, solve a puzzle, move to the next area like you always do. But here we got Abe, who seems to be a very feeble, non-factor for this world, but he ends up being pretty freaking powerful with his ability to chant and to inhabit other creatures of the world. And you quickly become very powerful. But there's always something to stop it.
It's always including the bad guys. You can take control of them, have them walk off cliffs, have them kill each other by accident, whatever. There's lots of stuff like that. Unless the
seeing eye is there, in which case you're screwed.
Yeah.
You can't chant when the seeing eye thing is there.
No, don't be chanting when that's happening. Also, there's a lot of stealth levels, stealth stuff where you got to stay in shadows.
Yes.
I like the transitions where he'll leave a certain area and the whole thing kind of 3D Studio Max rotates to a whole other place, and then now he's walking on there. Like, it's a very creative, clever way of taking advantage of the tech of the time.
Right.
To make a really compelling one of these. And I think they did a killer job. And I think this stuff holds up now. It's all really good.
This made me go even further with something that we discovered in the last couple of years. I never had a Sega Saturn until recently. And Sega Saturn kind of fell in an odd time. So it fell in an odd time because as well, Oddworld, these first two, were still doing side scrolling or screen to screen interfacing and graphics displays
Yep.
when we were in a 3D world. Everybody was doing 3D, but not these guys. And so it really, we had seen those side-scrolling platformers, but then by the time 3D came along, it's like, why would you do that? But now we have all these resources that are doing something that we had been doing before, but done it so spectacularly because we're 3D rendering stuff beforehand and turning them to into sprites, and it just looks amazing compared to the other games that were out at the time because they were all low polygon 3D stuff, which took a lot of resources but basically looked very simple. This is a world building a miracle if you're able to buy into this gameplay.
Yeah, and it still looks hold up. Like I think this is a good looking game. There are parts of it, like the intro movie, you'll be like, oh, okay, maybe we could redo that maybe. But
well, this is even before what was that Microsoft video compression thing that they did? Was it Blip? What was that stupid thing? I always get it confused.
Is it Blip?
Was it Blip? What was it? There was some weird compression thing they had for their videos in the Xbox. This was even before then. So all of our videos, you'd have full screen graphics displays, then you have videos that were highly compressed. Even though they were on, CD
Blink
videos or
Blink.
Not great. Blink, that was it. Blink, Blip. I knew it was one of those things.
Yeah, I see it. You still see it sometimes. It's in newer stuff even.
Yeah. But you're right. It is the weakest part is the videos and stuff. And it's because our creator here set out to make a quintology. So Lorne Lanning, the creator, the director, the beginning and the end of what we have for Oddworld, he had a vision, and that vision was he wanted to be kind of like a Hollywood director like George Lucas, and he admired that world building, and he wanted to make something like this, but he knew he couldn't get the money for the budget for a big old film, so he said he wanted to tell his story in video games, and he wanted to do it across 5 games, and so he started here with Oddworld and Abe because he wanted each one of them to be wrapped around one of the characters of the Oddworld. And he didn't actually mean for the second one to be part of the quintology. That's actually not even supposed to be there. It was supposed to be more additional stuff. Yeah. It wasn't supposed to be its own game. He hasn't realized his complete dream yet.
No, still working on it.
We have gotten.
His most recent was 2021 Oddworld SoulStorm came out.
Yes.
That was reasonably received, I believe. Let me see what the reception was.
Yeah. Some people
generally
were more happy
favorable
than others.
Yeah, some liked it, some weren't happy about it. But the let's see, PlayStation 5 version is still on PlayStation Plus. If you're curious about it and you have Plus, you can go just play it.
And that means something to some of us old school fans because Oddworld was PlayStation. It took a detour along the way. Having it back on PlayStation 5 was pretty hot and exciting.
Yeah, for some people they're stoked if you're super into your brand, I guess. But also available on Switch, Xbox, all the Windows, all that stuff. I haven't played SoulStorm. I want to check it out. I'm curious about it.
Now's the time, my friend. I don't know. Okay, so all I know is this. I like getting a good deal on video games. I know that Fanatical has so many keys. I don't know how they do their little deal with whoever's distributing these things.
Yeah.
But they're having a huge sale on the Oddworld series, and it's on sale in a couple different places, good old games, but there's nothing as cheap as the Fanatical thing. I think I got SoulStorm for like part of a bundle for like 60 cents.
Oh my gosh.
Insane. It's crazy. I felt bad, but I'm also like, well, let's see if it sucks first. And then if it doesn't suck, I would like to actually have like a physical copy. I don't even know if that's even possible or not, because I'm a big fan of Oddworld.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm an even bigger fan.
I
want Lorne Lanning to get his money.
Let me tell you what would make you even a bigger fan.
What's that?
If you skip over Munch's Odyssey, that game's not great. Okay.
It's not great, but I still enjoyed it.
It's okay. But here's what you really want to do is go right to Stranger's Wrath. Stranger's Wrath is amazing.
Played it, loved it.
So good. So good. They turned it into a third-person Western, and it worked. And I was so happy with that game. I freaking loved it. So more of that, please.
More.
In fact, Stranger's Wrath deserves a proper sequel. Maybe they'll get around to doing that. But for now, you could do New and Tasty, which is a complete from the ground up remake of Odyssey. That was in 2014. That's really good, by the way. Really great version of that. And then SoulStorm, as we mentioned. The last thing that they made that was like in the proper line that weren't remakes up until SoulStorm was Stranger's Wrath HD in 2011. 2005, the original Stranger's Wrath. So kind of a big break there where, they took a bunch of time off and came back later, and he's still kicking it. That dude's still rocking and rolling.
Here's one of the stories that I was hinting at earlier in the when we were starting up. There was a game that was planned, and Lauren Lanning was looking at the Hand of Odd. It was to be an RTS game that never happened, but it was supposed to be kind of like an Age of Empires kind of thing, where we got like we have the different warring factions in Oddworld. By the way, you can really dig deep. There's a huge story behind Oddworld that gets pretty deep if you dig deep enough. But he said in this interview on anyway, I'll put a link to it later. There's an interview he did on in a magazine. And he says one of the reasons that the Hand of Odd, why it never happened, he remembers because he was in a men's room at LAX, and standing next to him was Bobby Kotick, the CEO of the CEO of Activision. And I was like, "Oh, hey, Bobby, long time no see." He was like, "Oh, hey, what are you guys doing?" And I said, "We're about to do an RTS game." He goes, "Don't do it. There's no market there anymore." When he said that, I just totally got terrified because Bobby Kotick is no dummy. Like that was before he was a multi-billionaire.
Well, he's also an a-hole.
This was years ago, but still. Yeah.
He's an a-hole, but he does know the business. He
knows the business.
Yeah.
And so
that's the thing about Bobby Kotick. Everybody wants to make Bobby Kotick out to be an idiot, but the problem with Bobby Kotick is that he's the opposite of that. He's extremely tuned into what the game is industry. I mean, the business of it needs and does, and there's a reason Activision got as big as it did, as quickly as it did. That being said, doesn't mean he wasn't an asshole.
Right. Sometimes we confuse the idiot with doesn't want to take a chance. And you're like, but there's money on the table. And it's like, yeah, but I'm smart.
Yeah.
I'm a smart businessman. I know how to manage money.
He is very smart about that and kind of sucks at everything else. But anyway, Lauren Landing, he's the man. Real quick here, I'm going to play some sound from this first game. You'll recognize it, everybody. It'll bring you right back. Oh, that weird bird. Hello. Follow me.
That's Lauren. By the way, that's him. He does all the voices.
Oh, he does the voices in that? I didn't know that.
Lauren Lanning does all the voices in the first one.
Listen to this.
Look at that. It's a bone. I think we're close.
It's a bone. Hey, you guys, it's a bone.
It's a bone.
Oh, the memories.
Poor Abe, he has no clue what he's about to experience. He's about to learn that his enslavement to the man is about to turn very, very dirty and dark.
Yep.
Because Soylent Green is people.
Yeah, this is a game that revels in the Soylent Green motif. Does a pretty good job of bringing you to a place where genocide is on the table.
Right.
This isn't some cutesy story, even though it's presented with a lot of humor. The actual story behind it, if you really think about it, it's kind of hardcore, man.
Yeah,
it's kind of
and totally intentional. Lauren Lanning did many interviews, and they're all great.
Yeah.
And he talks about his experience, some of the things he's done in life, and his take on what capitalism has done and the things that people will do in the name of capitalism. And this boils it down to the very basics of the worst of that.
Yeah.
And so this is dystopic in the way that this could be us at some point in time, I guess he's kind of saying with the message. But then he wants to deliver all of that in a sugar-coated pill of whimsy and humor and farts.
Yep. Whimsy, humor, and farts, the three ingredients to all successful franchises.
Yes.
There is a fart button, and we're not kidding. Like, if you never played this game, straight up, there's a fart button that is assigned to make a fart sound.
Yes.
And you might think, well, that's a waste. And it kind of is at first, but then in the game, you'll use the fart sound for actual gameplay reasons. And
Yeah,
usually it's
you gotta-
distraction, or I need to make that little monkey guy over there know I'm here. So, and he goes, "Arr!" and then starts, trying to find out where the fart came from. So,
I didn't realize what an effective tool it was with some of the things I was having trouble with. Part of the game is where you're going through your little puzzle stuff. So you're thinking, oh, I'm just a character trying to do puzzles. You're also trying to save everybody, or maybe you decide you don't want to save all your kin. You just want them to all die. That's fine too. You'll get a different ending if you do that. But you kind of go along, and they have to help you do things, and you get them to follow you, and when they follow you, you may need to get them to back up an inch because they'll be right up on your space.
Yep.
And so if you fart, they'll back up.
Yeah.
They'll back up a little bit. And I'm like, well, that's effective.
Like they should in real life. Back up. It's a fart.
Yeah.
Don't be hanging around.
I've been trying to use that at work more too. It's like, hey, stop standing behind me while I'm trying to program. And it's like, all right, there we go. Now I got some space.
I mean, everybody's at average of 18.5 farts per day per human. We all do it.
But so I wonder how that's being. How are they measuring the volume of fart? Is it like, because I know a lot of people do little toots. Is that?
I don't know if those count or not. Like if you're squeaking one out, and if that was just part of a larger problem. Let's see.
Morning farts are usually bigger than afternoon farts. I mean,
that's the truth. I can tell you that. Okay, you produce about 500 to 1,500 milliliters of gas per day, and then you expel it somewhere between 10 and 20 toots.
I'm going to need you to convert that to gallons. Thanks, man.
How about this one? Number 2, 99% of the gas you produce, I don't know if they mean you, Brian, or the rest of us, but 99% of it does not smell. That's good.
Oh, that's interesting. Does it smell to who? Yourself
or those around you? Yeah.
How did they manage that? Does somebody sit around? Okay, go ahead.
Also, farting is the result of a healthy, complex ecosystem in your intestines. It's a good thing when you're farting a lot.
Or in the South, we like to call grits.
Yeah.
They're full of them.
It also says here, no, you cannot hold a fart until it disappears. You got to let it out. Eventually.
Interesting. Yeah, there's no place for it to go. There's no way. That's your gastrointestinal. There's no place for air to. No, you can't.
Yeah,
got to come out one of the tubes.
Yeah, so it's good. It's good to learn. It's like this thing we think of as gross farts, but you know what? It's an important part of your everyday deal.
Now, if this entire conversation grossed you out, then Abe's Odyssey probably not. Yeah, because there's a lot of fart humor. There's a lot of grossness. Abe himself is kind of a fish-looking creature walking around on 2 legs. Very pale, has stitches on his mouth, but yet can still, eke out. Hello. Follow me.
I love how dumb he is. He's just dumb.
I do too.
It's a boat.
It's a boat. It's
I'm going to save all the people. And then these guards, I'll tell you right now, some of the scariest gameplay of my life was in 1998, sitting in my basement playing Abe's Odyssey, or maybe Exoddus. Can't remember. And those guys with the long snouts and the beady eyes with the machine guns.
Yes.
When they get alerted and start coming after you, that stuff is scary as hell. Scary as hell.
It is quite intense. And there was actually a debate with on the development team because, Lanning didn't make this by himself. He had a bunch of other great artists who came in. Lanning, an artist himself, had a bunch of other people help him. And they were all more like, you need to put some more adventure in your game here. It's supposed to be an adventure puzzle platforming kind of game, and they wanted to use guns. And Lanning was like, "Nah, that's not how Abe would roll. It's not what he does.
He wouldn't shoot.
He's of the earth, right? He's our old ancestors who would use mysticism to resolve problems.
Yeah.
And so
even his whole thing is like a shamanistic, chant.
Yeah.
I think they'd literally call it chant in the game. He chants.
They do call it chant. And you can take over those guys with the guns. And like Scott said earlier, you can destroy more enemies with that. And I didn't realize this until I did it the first time because I had completely forgotten. When you inhabit somebody and those other creatures of the world, when you leave them, they explode. And lots of times, they just explode. I guess they just can't handle it.
Yeah.
And then Abe, he kind of laughs about it, and I don't know how I feel about that. I don't.
I think it's fine I think it's good that he laughs at the little machine gun guys because those guys are dicks with a capital D. Freaking hate those guys.
Yeah. Now, when Okay, so let's talk a little bit of let's talk game strategy. How Scott versus how Brian plays. Now, I feel very guilty whenever I am tasked with managing a character who's got to save everybody. I feel very guilty leaving any person behind. And in this game, you're supposed to save up to 99 Mudokons.
Mudokon.
I never could
Yeah.
quite get the language. Sligs. There's all kinds of. Every one of these animals has a weird, otherworldly name that I totally have forgotten. I recognize them through sight, but when you ask me what race is that, I'm like, I don't know. It's the ones with the Zoidberg things. So you're supposed to save all the Mudokons, and along the way there's a whole bunch of little signs, little LED looking signs that tell you how many you've saved and how many lost to casualties and stuff. It's one of my favorite things in the game. So do you try to save all of them, or are you just trying to get through?
I am to a fault with all video games. I want to save and find everything, and it doesn't matter what kind of game it is. If you say, hey, we're going to play Assassin's Creed, I say, great, I will spend as much time as I can gathering every hidden thing. I cannot not do that, or at least try. So I don't always succeed, but in games like that, I just feel compelled to not leave anything behind. In this case, your actual, little minor slave compatriots, you can't leave them there to die and rot and become food. I just can't do it. So I tried to save as many as I could. It says here that there are 2 endings to the game. If you save less than 50 of your fellows, you get the bad ending. If you save 99 or more than 76 up to the 99, you'll get the good ending, whatever that means. Now, I don't remember the ending because it was so long ago, but I did finish this game back in the day, and I didn't know I was actually competing against a second ending. I didn't know that. I just got the one I got.
I didn't either. And it's not a real long game. It's like 13 hours. That probably would have taken me close to 20, though. Let's be serious, because I like to take my time, especially in games that allow you to do it, because there's no hurry up mechanic here. You can sit on a screen, walk away, and come back, and it's still going to be sitting there waiting for you to finish up.
Right.
But there was, I don't know if you want, I put the ad in there. There's an ad that kind of has part of the actual end of the game.
Yeah.
If you did rescue everybody, and it also has a little bit of a twist, and it is one of the rewards you get at the end of the game if you finish it. I wasn't sure if you even wanted to.
Let's play. It's 30 seconds. Let's do it.
Let's play it. Let's look at it real quick. This is the good ending, at least part of it.
All right, here you go. Nice snoring. We got the robot.
Just because life is doomed and everyone wants to eat you doesn't mean there's no hope. You need to look within. It's time to confess.
Wow. It's like a little commercial. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was supposed to be that. Actually was the commercial that they were going to run. So it kind of cuts it short for the total ending, but it was there. So they had all the information, but they said it was too. At least this is what I read. It said it was too intense. And I kind of agree. It's
a little intense.
That was pretty intense.
Yeah, if you're a little kid,
that's scary,
and you're like, oh, I like this farting little alien. What the hell is this? I get it. I get why that would be a problem. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Now, if you fired up Abe's Exoddus, a game that was originally planned as an expansion to this thing, an add-on, wasn't even supposed to be its own standalone game, you probably heard this.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Stop it. Goodbye.
Wow.
Do you hear that sound? I love that sound.
Hi. So good.
Wait. Get him.
Get him.
Someone's going through the GameSpeak menu, which you can see at the start of the game. You can go through and you can see what all the characters will say.
Yep,
and
it's great. You can do bad guys, you can do good guys. It's really great.
Yeah, it's an upgrade as far as that goes.
Spelled Exoddus is spelled EXODDOS or US rather.
Yes.
And part of me thinks they spelled it wrong because it's just Oddworld and everything's a little odd, and there's also odd in the world. Part of me thinks it's because Abe is stupid and doesn't know how to spell. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, is he stupid or is he just simple? I mean, he's
very
basically
simple.
Working, or he has been working. He's escaped from a meat processing plant where he is a consumer and also the product, right?
Yeah,
Boy, don't we feel like that? Don't we feel like that today?
I do
being
sometimes.
The consumer and the product.
Yeah, especially in the games business. We're kind of all we're all meat at the end of the day.
Yeah. But
I like this game quite a bit. I remember playing it as soon as it came out. I was like, oh yeah, of course I'm going to play this sequel. This is amazing. Is more of this? Okay, cool. But then I think I fell off quicker. I didn't finish it, and it's not because it was bad. I think I just maybe was a little burned out on the formula.
Agreed.
I don't know.
I think that's probably how a lot of people felt. This is actually the first one that I played. It was a 2-disc set. I had played the first one as a demo, and so I finished this one, but I wasn't burnt out on it. But I could totally understand. This was just the next year. So GT Interactive had put a big pressure. This is the publisher of this game. I put a big pressure on the developer, the Oddworld Inhabitants, to get a second one out, and by Christmas '98. And so the first one took 3 years to develop. Using the same game engine, they had 9 months to make this thing and get it out. It is way bigger as far as puzzles and stories, so it's kind of amazing they did what they did. But yeah, it's just more of the same. So if you had played this the year prior, you were probably going, okay, I've already done this.
Yeah, you already knew it. I wanted to not miss this. There's a little bit of intro, and I don't know if this is the voice of the creator or not. You can tell me, I guess, but listen to this bit.
In case it was too cheap to purchase our last game, let me tell you a bit about what happened. It was all about this Abe guy that worked in this dumb meat factory called Rupture-Farms. The place was run by Gluckins, and they was on the verge of going out of business.
I don't know if I like that or not. It kind of annoys me.
It is compared to other things at the time. It's not bad. It's not bad. In 2024. It seems a little subpar because this was still, remember, this is still a time where, we weren't hiring Hollywood actors, and probably for good reason, because the budgets weren't quite as big. And, especially with Lanning he's kind of a control kind of guy. He spoke about this in some of the interviews I'd listened to. He didn't want to get voice actors in because what would their availability be? So they would be, anytime they wanted to complete a game, they would have to, wait for the availability of the actor and so on and so forth. And so, as was of the time, a lot of studios just had their own voice work, right?
Right.
They just had people in the studio just go, okay, who's up for reading some lines?
Yeah. I think that's a fair assessment, and also I understand why he would feel that way.
Yeah.
I'd understand why you got a project. It's your baby. You don't want people changing your timeline or messing with your creative vision or whatever. So you just control everything. I get that. Totally get that.
Yeah, get it. And it's manageable. Why not?
Unfortunately, here's probably the truth. I could be wrong. This is speculation. But I'd bet he'd be like totally cool with using AI voices in his games. No.
In his new stuff? That's an interesting concept. I don't
just because it's so easy and he would control it. You see what I mean? Like he wouldn't have to.
I can see what you mean from a control. That kind of makes sense from a control aspect. I don't know what his take, but people are so oddly passionate about people I would think would be like totally cool with AI, or like just like, I hate AI, and it's like, so yes, it's hard to say. I would probably need to hear him talk about it. I haven't heard anything on that front. I think you're right. I think that does give you a lot of control, and you get to, if we've talked about this a little bit before, that if you're at like a mid or higher level management and you're trying to get a product out, it's a lot easier not to worry about your bottom workers, your Abes,
all
right?
your Abes, exactly. Oh man, just think of the parallels. That'd be crazy.
That would be so parallel, right? Mm-hmm. That's interesting. I wonder if he's thought about that in any type of new things he's looking at doing.
Probably has. But then I wonder if it would be interesting to find out if he saw the way that the game, because the irony is that the game story he is telling is one about fighting power and punching up when nobody can punch up, and that's the whole point of Abe's Odyssey and Abe's Exoddus is to save these underlings from the corporate overlords. And then is he secretly
right? Is he the corporate overlord? Yeah. So I also want to mention Sherry McKenna. We can't leave her out. She's the producer, and she's kind of the she's the connection. She's the person who makes things happen. Lauren Lanning's kind of the idea guy, the creative director, has a really good vision. And Sherry McKenna, she's that person out there making the deal. She has all the connections. She knows the people. She has the trust in Lanning's vision and is making all this stuff happen. And so don't want to forget to mention Sherry McKenna is part of this Oddworld Inhabitants
Yeah.
piece of story. So yeah.
And also, if you're wondering where the name SoulStorm came from for the new game, that's the name of the brewery in Abe's Exoddus, the one where they're brewing them all their bones into some drink that's very popular. So SoulStorm implies in that new game that that's where they're headed and stuff, and it is made as a direct sequel to Exoddus's remake, the new and tasty in 2014. The question is, did they scrap everything in Exoddus and rewrite a sequel? I don't know. I kind of want to check that out and see. You know.
So I think Lanning did kind of like. He was so inspired by Lucas. I just kind of have a feeling. I don't know this. Didn't say it in interviews, but I feel like he has everything mapped out.
Yeah.
In his head maybe, or has it written down. And so yeah, it's according to when that falls into the timeline of what's going on, because they've squeezed in a couple of things here and there between the stories. So I'd be interested. I know that myself.
Now here's the dirty work. This right here. Ugh.
Yeah.
All right. They made a Game Boy game, is what I'm getting at.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was about to say, I don't remember that being an Exoddus, but
yeah, it's called.
They
what's this called again? Adventures. Yeah, 1 and 2, and the first one was in black and white. Second one was on the color. I'm sure you could do a color profile on the old one, but I didn't play it. I watched a lot of video though. This looks like ass. It doesn't look good, dude.
I played it. Nobody liked it.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody out there is like, oh, that's my favorite game because that was the only game I had on the Game Boy.
Yeah, and I was 8 years old. And everyone, when you're 8 years old, you love everything your mom gives you at Christmas. So, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Oddworld Adventures. It was a stripped down version of his Odyssey. So we removed a lot of story. And since it's black and white, you don't get to see all those amazingly rendered 3D backgrounds, which creates a wonderful environment. You don't have nearly the sound quality, so you don't get that really nice score they had going on. It's just got the most basic gameplay where you're doing screen to screen and just solving environmental puzzles, but without all the love and the passion that you can feel for Abe and the other Mudokons.
Yep.
It just boils down to the gameplay, right?
Portable money grab is what this is. That's what they took a popular thing and just grabbed. By the way, okay, you know the thing where he goes like this?
Yeah, the little jamboree.
That thing right there in the new the black and white game, and they have it. But let me play it. Hold on. Wait, let's see. Not yet. It's coming up. Okay, wait. Here it comes. That's him going.
I'm sure somebody tried real hard. All right. Yeah. I'm not denying that whoever made that port didn't try real hard to make a PlayStation game work on a Game Boy.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just got to throw your hands up and go, no.
Yeah.
No.
I don't want to besmirch any good names out there. I'm sure some very talented people had their hands in this. These games are not great, though. They're kind of bad.
But Adventures 2 was at least an upgrade. So here we are in Exoddus territory. So, and this was Game Boy Color. It was a little bit better. But the Game Boy Color was a little bit more powerful, and it was able to do a little bit more. And so, it was still pared down, but it was still not the PlayStation stuff. I mean, not the expansive. I mean, in Exoddus, you get to control lots of times you're in mass rescuing Mudokons. Right. So in the first one, you only can control one Mudokon. In the second one, you can control I guess an infinite amount, but I know I would control at least 6 or more.
Right.
And so yeah, this was kind of a letdown if you're going that. But I guess if you got a little portable game, why not?
Also, Abe looks like a dude in a green suit. It's just
he looks like the Grinch.
Yeah, the Grinch dude. Yeah.
Because Abe's got that ponytail thing he's got, and so he looks like the Grinch.
100% Grinch looking. That is a great way of saying it. I couldn't put my finger on it, but he's Grinchy as hell. He's kind of,
and of course,
just misshapen. I don't like it. Whatever.
There's a bunch of things going on here. First of all, even here on the Game Boy Color, I mean, you have more face buttons and stuff on the Game Boy Color, but I mean, in the PlayStation game. You've seen the old PlayStation controllers, right?
Yeah.
There's 4 face buttons, a D-pad, and then 4 trigger buttons and a select button. and a start button. And man, Abe's both of these Oddworld games, these 2D games, uses every one of those freaking buttons and combinations of those buttons together. So try to put that type of control into those little handhelds.
Yeah, it's
Not-
funny
not
you
a
say
great
that. I was
experience.
just holding this the other day. I've got the same controller here, and my hands are so big on a PlayStation controller.
Yeah, they really are. And so this is actually the size of what these were. The one I have is not the original, but it's a faithful reproduction that came with. It's a USB one that came with the PlayStation Classic, which is the mini thing.
Mhm.
And you can still buy these things, by the way. And if you want to do some Oddworld and you see one at a thrift store somewhere, you could do worse with your 20
know
bucks.
what?
And you can also do some stuff.
I agree, and the reason that they're still available is because nobody bought them. They sucked.
No.
But that
Well,
being said,
too
if
few
you're a
titles.
huge fan of even if you just like 2 games on there, it's
Mhm.
worth the money.
It's worth the money. And it's worth the money, if nothing else, for the controllers. These are like little USB controllers. Plug that right into other emulation systems, and you pretty much got a new modern version
Yeah,
of that PlayStation controller.
yeah, and the classic controllers I like. I'm just saying
Yeah.
my hands are giant. That's all. They were
Yeah,
big then
yeah.
too. I remember then thinking, man, these controllers are tiny. These are little bitty for tiny people hands. Whoa, Brian just bolted. You all right, Brian?
I did
Oh, there you
because
go.
because I had to grab something because I figured we was going to talk about because I figured this would be a nice segue because we're about to talk about just very briefly worth to mention Oddworld's Munch's Odyssey, which moved over to the Xbox.
Yeah.
And this is the PlayStation controller, and then here's the Duke. The Duke.
The Duke. Look
The
at that
Duke,
thing. It's
baby.
like ordering a pizza. It's huge.
These existed at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. That thing was so big. Look at the button on there.
Right.
There's just the big face thing with the X on it.
Yeah, look at that big thing in the middle. I always thought before I got one, I was like, what does that big button in the middle do?
Yeah.
I want to know what that big button in the middle does.
And the answer is nothing.
People
Just
were
lights up.
I mean, I've heard so many stories. People hated this thing when it came out because a lot of people didn't have large hands. I was fine. It didn't bother me one way or the other, but we were used to smaller controllers. And when this came out, I was like, okay, but I recognize it as huge, right? I
Yeah.
recognize that.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people were like, no. And it didn't take 5 minutes for them to come out with the S-type controller. And they still had these on the shelves, and people would pull these out, pull the controller out and say, swap me.
Yep.
I'm not even taking this big ass thing home.
Yeah, it's so big. And look at the giant, the double slot holes in the back for your memory
Yeah.
cards. Look at that thing.
Memory cards. Was there Rumble pack in here? At least I can't remember now.
I thought
Was
didn't they rumble natively? Like they had rumble in them?
I think they may have. I'm trying to remember now. I've got to plug this thing up.
Can't
It's
remember.
a giant though.
Yeah.
This makes you feel like a small person. The PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 1 controller, and the 2 for that matter, make you feel like a giant.
Tom DeGosa in the chat has a great idea. He says that little bubble thing with the X in it, that should have a dice in it. You just hit it and it does.
Oh, does that mean a
dice.
Pop-O-Matic bubble?
Yeah, dude.
If somebody hasn't done that, they really should.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
You should.
But,
you mod it. You do it. You got all the power. You
yeah.
do it. You could do it.
That's right. But in 2001, GT Interactive had been purchased, and so guess what? They're out of here.
Yep.
And so the Oddworld money was not coming in anymore. So Munch's Odyssey, Lanning saw the writing on the wall, and he said we need to get out of the PlayStation, off the PlayStation, because Microsoft has said that they'll give us some money.
Yeah,
And
they'll
so
help
we
us
need
fit
to-
the bill. They needed some interesting games for
Yeah.
the launch of that thing, and this was a launch title, Munch's Odyssey, if I remember right.
Yeah, it was.
It is a very different game. It is a 3D game, and you're in a little wheelchair with a little monkey creature. I never played this game, so I can't tell you what it's like. I never played Odyssey. I was always told it was bad, so I have kind of a bias against it.
Right. I played a little bit of it. And yeah, you're right. So this is Munch's Odyssey. This is the actual second of the quintology.
Mhm.
This is the other story, but it still involves Abe. I don't know if they were afraid they wouldn't be able to sell it, at the end of the quintology is actually supposed to be all of the characters are supposed to come together as one. So I guess it kind of makes sense. Probably still in Lanning's vision. But yeah, you're right. Munch is he's a little more. I think he's only got one leg, and he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Very capable though.
Very capable.
And
he's handy
very
capable,
capable.
they always say. Handy
He's
capable.
handy capable.
Yeah.
That's right. And he's pretty hilarious and whimsical, just like Abe. And so we keep on laughing and we keep on wanting to cry all at the same time in this game.
This
But
wasn't.
it is, like you
This
said,
was not
third
highly
person.
thought of. It was okay. I think I was even more worried about the next one. What's it called again? The new one. Shit.
Strangers,
Strangers,
right? Strangers Wrath?
Stranger's Wrath. I thought that was going to be a problem because I'm like, they're still so far from what these games were originally. But that game knew what it was doing. That game was rad.
Yeah, it was good.
I want to play that.
I like
now.
that one.
I don't think it's really ugly. They need to redo it, but it's a hell of a game.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's your lineup. It made an impact, man. It was a game series, especially the first two that all it takes is for you to play one sound from that game, like something as simple as that, or let's do that bird again, like this. I hear that and I immediately go, oh yeah, I'm on my couch. It's 1998. I got a baby in my lap. I'm eating. What am I eating? Pizza rolls. My TV still sort of sucks. It's like a tube TV.
Yeah.
And I'm playing this shit. Like, that's what I was doing. I loved these games back then. So,
and if you lived in Japan, you might have gotten a differently titled game besides the one we got here. What do you think they called Abe's Exoddus over in Japan? What do you think they what would you have to say?
HappyTownFunLaughter.com. I have no idea.
Well, you're not too far off. It was called Abe a Go-Go.
Oh shit.
Boy, you want to talk about some whimsy. Abe a Go-Go.
Abe a Go-Go. I don't like that.
Yeah.
How about Exoddus? What'd they do for Exoddus?
Yeah. Exodus, I'm not sure where they probably Abe a go. All I do know is this: there was a couple of things that the Japanese market influenced for this game. It was the name, and of course, some of the representation here, because they also have their own history of mistreatment of their working class. And there's a whole thing about four-finger gestures in Japan. That I heard about in interviews and stuff. And so they had to drop down to three fingers because they needed Abe to be likable, not condemned. So they changed it to a three-finger alien instead of a four-finger alien.
That's weird. It's a weird thing.
That's the world, baby. That's how the world works.
It is how the world turns.
It is a real odd world that we live in, Scott.
Oh, I see what you did there. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, enough about Oddworld. Now let's do.
But wait, before you
go
do
ahead.
that, just a couple of things to wrap up on that. So we talked about how to play it. There's a bunch of different ways you can get it. You can get on Steam and good old games. Or if you're on Mac or Linux and you still want to play this, there's a project. The original game engine was called Alive, and now they've got one. There's a community project called Relive. So if you look up RELIVE, and it will allow you to play Mac, Linux. You can play it just about anywhere on any of those modern operating systems, and it allows you to do some smoothing and some screen sizing and those sort of things. So it's a fun little project. And the bigger thing is that you can they have a level editor as well.
Oh, I was going to ask, is anyone making games or making levels and stuff? That's cool.
So I'm pretty excited about that because I would not mind. We didn't talk a lot about it because Lauren Lanning is such a big figure in this, but I know we work with a lot of talented artists and designers. And I feel like I felt when I made Quake maps, I feel like making a puzzle, screen in any of these Abe type of games would be a lot of fun.
It'd be fun, and it would be hard. It's harder than people think. These designs.
Yeah.
Like I was playing that. Like I was talking about that Animal Well game.
Yes.
And I'm flabbergasted by the talent of people who know how to make good puzzle screens and how to logically think. Well, if I want them to open this door, they're gonna have to do these three things. How do you lay that out? How do you start thinking about that? Like, it's an incredible talent to just know that stuff.
We used to do it with grid paper, Scott. That's how people used to do it.
Maybe they still do to some degree.
I'm sure some people still do, but yeah. Get out your grid paper and time to grid it out.
Blows me away. All right, let's get to guess my game or guess our game.
No, you guess my game.
No, you guess my game. Hold on, I'm in the wrong place for this. Why is that there? All right, Scott, here we go. We got it together. How about this?
Destroy it.
All right, we take old games and we play some audio from it. We try to guess what it is. We have 4 options each to choose from. It's kind of multiple choice these days. And we pick a year and a platform and all that sort of stuff. I'm going to start this time, but a quick note. You guys always make the joke in the chat and sometimes outside of the chat that we are always doing Choplifter for some reason. It's like the big joke.
Yeah. If you're a podcast listener only, you do not realize the number of choplifters that throw up in the chat room.
Oh yeah, they come up all the time.
Hilarious.
Well, what I was going to say is Wabbit Magic included in that little kit. He included a Choplifter clone in there.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Let me see. I don't know if I scrolled through. I'm
skip around.
I'm vision impaired. It's very small.
Yeah, it's very small. Actually works pretty well for me. But you see the one that's called like I can't remember what it's called.
Race and RPGs tabletop.
Hella Chopper or some name like that.
Let's see.
Cannot remember the name. It's cool though.
Tabletop RPGs racing.
Yeah. Keep going. Action.
Game I watched. No, arcade.
Arcade. Probably that. And then scroll through those. Invaders like Space Invaders.
1944. Oh my God. Yeah, Choplifter. There it is.
There it is.
It is right there.
Isn't that cool?
Got it right there.
It's fun. Cool. I went and rescued a bunch of dudes and died. It was great.
Dudes and die.
Yep, dudes and die. That's what I do on Fridays. Hey, what are we doing tonight? Dudes and die. Go for it.
I'm going.
Go for it. I'll be like, hey,
I'm lifting the chops.
It's a bone.
It's a bone. Oh my God, I died already. All right, I'm done. I suck at choplifter.
I'm not very good at it either, but I do like it. All right. So anyway, let's get to these things. Now, here is my information that will help you. The platform is the arcade. You know, you put quarters and shit, that sort of thing. You know what's on.
Yeah, quarters and shit. That's what I'm always putting in there. Quarters and shit.
That's right. 1994 is the year.
Well, that's late. That's late arcade. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sort of. Yeah, that's true. I guess it kind of is. We'll call it mid arcade. How about that? Anyway,
there you go.
It is. You got some choices here. I'll play the audio first, and then we'll talk about it. Here you go.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty grooving, right? All right. That gives you a taste. I'll leave that rolling in the loop there in the background while I tell you your options. Here are your choices. And these were all arcade games made around the same time. In fact, they were all the same year. A, was it Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the arcade game.
Okay, Paul, so that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
The M was really sticking. B, Killer Instinct. C, Gunbird. Or D, Master of Magic. So you got Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
I wanted to be Gunbird because all I could think of is some guy in a helicopter going.
There's a Gunbird. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Killer Instinct, Gunbird, and Master of Magic. Which do you think that might be?
You know, it almost has a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers sound to it, but it also has a Killer Instinct sound to it. I've never played Gunbird, but it makes me laugh. And Master of Magic doesn't make any sense at all.
These are all real. Well, they were all games in 90. They're all games in 94. A couple of them may not have been in the arcade. If that helps you at all.
It definitely sounds like they're fighting it up. 94.
Yep.
Just because I want it to be. I want it to be Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I just want it to be, even though I don't think it is. I'm going with A, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Let's will it in. Nope, just kidding. It is not that. It is, the game is Gunbird.
Dang it! I love Gunbird.
Gunbird is awesome.
That's
it was
great.
A Japanese game. It did make it to the States. I played it once or twice, and it's a fun top-scrolling shooter thing. Fun little shmup game. It's very good. And the reason it sounds like a fighting game and you hear people going, ah, and stuff like that, is because the characters are like floating. It's not they're not ships or planes or anything. They they're like superheroes, and when they do their big abilities, they go wah, and then do like a thing. It's pretty great. Anyway, check it out.
Looks like I had a remake recently too on Steam for $10. You can buy very positive from 2020. Looks like you can play some modern Gunbird remake.
Gunbird on Steam. Interesting. Hold on. I keep saying Gunblade, but I mean Gunbird. Let's see.
Gunbird.
That's at 20% off right now. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is totally that. So what'd they do? Oh, it looks like the original game is just
maybe a remade or remaked or up-resed.
I'm not sure here. I'm very interested in this. I might have to grab it. I loved this game back in the day. I didn't think I had a way to play it. I mean,
illegal right there.
legal way to play.
A legal way.
Good little shmup game. Anyway, Brian, that was mine. Let's talk about yours. Give me my info. What are we doing?
Sure. Mine's at home. You want to fire up your Sega Genesis, and it was the year was 1990, and Scott was probably still eating pizza bites. It was probably the same.
Yeah,
still eating pizza bites.
that'll sound good right now. All right, here's your audio.
There's a couple of choices for you.
Really familiar. Okay, go ahead, read them.
Couple of choices for you. Jill of the Jungle. A. Jill of the Jungle. B. Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse. C. Adventure Island 3. Or D. Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle.
Okay, hold on. Okay, I think I know this, but I'm just going to make sure my brain's in the right place. Definitely not Jill of the Jungle. I never played it. I have played this. This sound is so familiar. Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse is at the top of where I think this is. Adventure Island 3, maybe?
If it was to go, ha, you would definitely know it was that, right? What's up, Doc?
Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle. All right, I'm gonna go with my gut. This just sounds like Castle of Illusion. I think it's Mickey Mouse Castle of Illusion.
Oh, Scott, I'm sorry. Give yourself a ding. You got it.
I'm correct.
Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse.
I loved that game. It was so good. All the you know what? Those Disney Mickey Mouse games. I think they were Capcom or maybe I can't remember who made them.
Is it Capcom?
I don't remember, but they were so good. They were like better than they were supposed to be. And no one liked tie-in games back then. They were always shit. These were like the big exception. It wasn't the only one that was as good. There were others. But that Genesis game, in particular, Castle of Illusion, top-notch stuff. Really good platformer. Highly recommend it.
Top-notch.
Yeah, that's...
Capcom was involved. They're just distributing. There's so many developers, according to which version you're talking about. Yeah, it looks like Sega Studios, Australia, Disney Interactive Studios. They must have probably had input. Sega, Capcom, Overworks, Sega AM1. Nice. So I guess the score which one you got because it was on everything. It was on the Genesis, the Game Gear, the Mark III, the Microsoft Windows, the Sega Saturn, for Pete's sakes.
Yep, everywhere. Everywhere you want to be. Like the commercial for
Except Nintendo.
Yeah, F Nintendo.
Yeah.
well, they had their own.
Yeah.
They had their own.
Nintendo
don't have that game. Well, this is good for me and bad for you. That's all right. I think it was a valiant try, Brian. I think you did fine.
It was. I tried hard.
Let's do this now.
Welcome to the treasure room.
Time for some listener feedback. Our text line is 801-471-0462, or you can email us, playretroshow@gmail.com. This is a text from somebody who did not leave their name, who said, my sisters and I still say, quote, roll that beautiful bean footage to this day. So, Brian, you were not the only nostalgic person about the bean footage.
It gets stuck in your every once in a while. An ad campaign will come along that just gets stuck in your head, and there's nothing you can do about it. And roll that beautiful bean footage was just one of them.
Yep.
It's like the best part of waking up. You know what the best part of waking up is, Scott. You don't even have to. You know that advertising campaign worked great.
Oh yeah,
you know what it is.
Of course. It's
Folgers in your what's up?
Gut. Folgers in your cup.
Folgers in your gut.
The best part of waking up is their sister making out in the kitchen with you. Because remember that ad? That was weird. That was a weird ad.
It was so weird.
And Maxwell House also. Maxwell House was good to the last drop. You had
Who tried to fool us? Who tried to fool us into the you're drinking it?
I don't know.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. No, wait. You're drinking it?
Yeah.
Was it a coffee ad or was it like soda or something?
Yeah, I think it was a coffee ad, wasn't it? I mean, it's Dawn. You're soaking in it, but then there was also,
I can't remember, dude.
Now it's the only ones we remember is stupid. It's a dark time, Scott. It's a dark time. We're living in the odd world, and the only things we remember now is stupid pharmaceutical stuff, like where all the marketing money is, where it's like, Ozempic,
you know,
da-da.
This was supposed to be for people in dire health needs, but now you're all using it to get skinny.
It was better when we were spending money on rolling that beautiful bean footage.
Yep.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
That's right. Well, never forget. Thanks for that, whoever you are that wrote that. You can always put your names in these texts, people. I'm not going to tell people your numbers, but I'm happy to say your name. Like this email from JR who wrote in. Says play retro. I worked at GameStop when I was an OG Xbox. Sorry, when the OG Xbox came out.
I knew I heard this story from somewhere. I accidentally stole this story. Go ahead.
Did you steal this story?
I think I mentioned it earlier. Oops.
Oh, oops.
I thought somebody is okay. Go ahead.
Oh, this is that same dude. It might be the same dude.
Yeah. This is where I got the information from.
Okay, it says I worked at a GameStop when the OG Xbox came out. Most people would buy an Xbox, open it at the store, and immediately trade in the Duke for the controller S. I remember this. That was later, though, not early in the life of the thing. But anyway, about half the people did this. Thought you guys would find that interesting, JR. Yeah. So when did the S come out in relation to the original console?
It wasn't even like a year later. I think it was like 9 months. I mean, it was, if you will excuse me, it was a big deal.
It was
I remember it was pretty quick.
Let's see. Where is this?
And always remember to quote your sources. I knew I had read something somebody sent. I thought somebody sent it to us, but I didn't realize it was in here in the emails. There you go.
That thing is that is so slimmed down compared to the other one.
So small.
Here, look, chat. Look at this. Put it up on the screen. Whoops, that's huge.
And it really did feel good.
Yeah, that was a good controller.
Really good design.
Yeah, it's much closer to what we have today from them, which I personally love Xbox controllers. I'm a huge fan. I like it better. Sorry, PS5. I like it better than you. And I have a PS5 and I have those controllers. I don't like them very much. They're okay. They're fine. They get the job done. But give me a sturdy one of these. Give me a sturdy Xbox controller with big sturdy ass sticks. Just gonna get in there and just go, That's how I feel.
Those long ass cables on the S type had the breakaway cable, so if your kids tripped over it, it would it would break away.
That's right. We were still in wired town back then.
Yeah.
Oh, that was gonna change real quick. Anyway, you got me interested.
You can get wireless controllers. It was
expensive,
clunky, and expensive.
Yeah, and they didn't work great. They were okay. The Wavebird was pretty good for the GameCube. GameCube, right? Yeah, GameCube.
What was that? Yeah, Wavebird. Yeah, Wavebird's GameCube.
Yeah, the Wavebird was GameCube. You could buy. There were some third-party wireless solutions for PlayStation, but I never saw them.
Yeah.
We were wired. That was a wired generation, man. It wasn't until PS3. Yeah, PS3 and 360 that changed everything. And these days, the latency's so good. Who even cares?
Who even cares, baby? So it's the same. Matter of fact, having a cord just seems inconvenient.
Tonda says we should do a whole episode on controllers. I agree.
Oh man, yeah, I've got a ton of them.
I would love to do that. I'm a big I buy controllers for no good reason all the time.
Yeah,
I love a good controller
because they soothe my soul.
Yeah,
that's the only reason I need.
I just hold it. Look, I'm holding it now. Oh, Brian, my soul.
I would love to have a ton of Mad Catz controllers at my hand to see if they sucked as bad as I remember.
Yeah, if they were really truly as bad as we all said they were back then. I mean, we just didn't have a lot of choice. They were it. Mad Catz or the stock stuff. That's all you had.
That was their slogan. Mad Catz or nothing.
Yeah,
that's just your options.
It's true. But nowadays there are so many great third-party controllers for all systems. Yeah. Like we live in a time of embarrassment. I'm telling you.
Yes.
You've all forgotten. None of you know. Some generations are like, what? What are you even talking about? I'm telling you, you don't have any idea. It used to be one blockbuster game a month if you were lucky. Now we get 5 or 6 a day, and you're like, damn it, I want to play all those.
Yeah.
Not
enough time.
We're in a weird place. Is there any, if you ever needed to understand why the game business is having a bit of a retraction right now, it's because it's just too much. There's a bubble.
Yeah, we've got too much. It's grown too much. It's time to eat our young.
It's a bubble. That's why people are back into retro. They're kind of tired of the rat race of the modern world, and they turn to things like indie and retro and other stuff. Like it's actually really great and vibrant, but it's gonna be a weird few years coming up. It's gonna be strange. Yeah. But we'll be here for the whole thing. We'll be here the whole time.
Yeah.
All right.
I feel like in the end it'll be better. Once we get through this, it's going to be better.
I agree. Brian, that's a very optimistic attitude, and I share it.
Yeah. Abe taught me a lot.
He sure did.
That's not right.
Let's do this. Time for the retro report. Catch us up on what's going on all our little retro projects that we got going.
So as you know, I've been working on a Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 server for the OpenRCT2 project. It's official. It is in there. I've got it running. And just like I promised, I put information on the Retro GIB, that's retrogib.com website. You can now find out what you need and how to get it. And good news, Good Old Games has put, just today, they have put Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 triple thrill pack back on sale for like $249. That's the one to get. Some people keep asking me, do I need classic or deluxe? You got to do it. You should get classic. If you already have classic, fine. Deluxe will not work with the OpenRCT2. So do get the triple thrill pack 2. That will definitely work. That's the easiest way to do it. At $249, come on.
Where is it now?
Come
on Steam for
on.
$249?
No, Good Old Games.
Good Old Games.
Good Old
Hold
Games
on. I'm
has it
gonna
for
go. I'm gonna go right now and get a link so everybody can get it in the notes. So Good Old Games. Hold on. Here's Roller Coaster
Tycoon triple thrill pack.
There it is. Triple thrill pack. $2.49. What a joke. That's so
What
cheap.
a joke.
All right, I'm gonna make sure I have this version too because I haven't done this yet. I haven't had time. I just haven't time to get in there, but I want to bad.
Retro GIB has all the information. You can get on our Discord server and you can find out how to get to the server as well. We have the server IP address and the password you'll need to get on there. We've already building parks. This is kind of how it's going to work. If you've ever played Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, you know that this is mostly scenario based. So you have a park. And right now we're using, is it Crazy Castle, I think is the park we have set up right now. We're going to be rotating through those different scenarios. So right now, the one we have, we got it. We'll probably archive it, back it up, allow people to download it so you can play it locally. But right now, you can get on there and build in there. We've already had a few of some of our community members like Tondagosa and Claire both got in there the other night and did some amazing things, made the current park profitable. So money's coming in. If you want to add into that, you totally can. I think I got it set so you can't delete. You can't grief, essentially.
Okay.
What's already there. Still experimenting, doing some stuff there. And probably next week, we'll pick another scenario. Maybe we'll do some kind of voting or poll or something to see which one we want to do next. But it's been fun so far. I set up a couple of things right away. I did a Ferris wheel and what's the other one? What's the carousel? I did a couple of those. Did some quick stuff. Hired a couple of people. And then I turned it over. And you guys did amazing things. It's so much fun to go in there. And people... They named some of the characters. I think some of the character names were some of the people walking around have some community names in there too. So it's a lot of fun.
No, that's great. I now own this thing. It's only $249. What a dumb low price to get in. And here's the deal. Okay, I got a question for you. Yes. Are we all working in the same playground? Yes. Okay, it's one park. Yes. We're all adding to the same park. Is that the idea?
Correct. And how it works is the server saves all the information. When you go to build something, there's like you don't see it. It's all seamless in the background, but basically it does like a time delay and then it sends out the placement you're doing so you don't place stuff in the same place and it synchronizes all that stuff. But it's a pretty cool trick. I think it's amazing. I can't believe that we're building Roller Coaster Tycoon parks together.
Yeah,
that's crazy to me.
It's a pretty wild idea. The whole concept's pretty great.
Yeah.
Man, go ahead.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I'm loving it. If you have more questions about that, let me know. But we have a couple other things. We got the Ambernick update. Ambernick is moving right along, especially in our community of people who are purchasing different models. The RG35XXH, I believe, is the horizontal one. I've seen a lot of people doing that, and they're a little bit disappointed because announced this past week, not announced, but more details have come out about the RG35XX XP. That's the clamshell one that everybody's been wanting. And so we got some first looks at that, and they haven't put a pre-order date or a price yet, but everybody's pretty excited about that. I'm pretty stoked.
Can't wait. I'm also stoked. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. What I've seen of that so far, I'm actually pretty heartened on it. It looks pretty good.
Yeah,
I think I may get it.
And unless the price is something outrageous, I'm in.
Yeah,
I don't think it will be. Ambernick hasn't done that.
What's their OS? Do we know what that is on there?
I don't know. That it's probably going to be the Game Boy emulation is what we're really Game Boy Advanced, and I think that will probably be the emulation they're probably going after.
Yeah,
I would probably say it's Linux. There's a whole chart. If you go to Ambernick, let me see, is it just ambernick.com? There is a nice little chart that gives you all the information. Let me take a look here. Go to ambernick.com.
Yep.
And then I believe it is it support? Take a look here. Support guide. I'm going to give a link later on, but yes, they have a spreadsheet that tells you what each one of them does. It tells you the screen, it tells you the processor, the memory, and it tells you which games are compatible. So you can click on a little link and find out. Oh, is it the comparison shopping guide? No, I'll find it. But I found it earlier today. I meant to link it. But it gives you a complete list of all the games that are compatible.
I am actually very stoked about this.
Oh, here it is.
How much is this going to be? Do we know the price yet of these things?
Not yet, but I feel like it's going to be reasonable. Most of the Ambernick stuff has been somewhere between $50 to $350. Their highest one. The highest one is kind of a Steam Deck competitor. It runs Windows, and that's been the highest price. If I had to guess, I'm probably going to say this is going to fall in between the 150. It's according to the manufacturing, but the Ambernick's pretty smart about this stuff. I'm guessing. I don't know nothing special.
Same.
I'm just telling you what I know about Ambernick.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I'm going to say between 85 and 150. That's my guess.
Yeah, something like that. Could be more, but you don't know.
I think it's going to be
I'm
worth
willing to pay it.
I want this dark see-through one. The I don't know what you call that color, but the darker jellyfish
the
one.
Smoke.
Yeah,
that smoke.
That's what I want. F this other bullshit. I want that.
I want the silver one because it reminds me of my SP.
Yeah, the silver one is very like early SPs. It'd be fun to like custom paint one of these,
Yeah.
Make it look like a Famicom or something.
Ooh, yes.
Well, anyway, boy, howdy. I can't wait to get one of those. Those are cool.
Most of the other 35s have, looks like there's a mix of Android or Linux. Now, the RG5, the 35XX is Linux and garlic. I don't know.
I just want garlic. That's all I want.
I want garlic. I want what I like.
Yeah, garlic's great. Just runs great. I love it. I'm completely hooked on garlic OS as compared to any other stock stuff. Agreed. So maybe do that, Ambernick. Unreal Tournament still we're still digging around some maps and mutators, things that the community wants to play and mess around with, but those servers are still up, 99 and 2004. Get in there.
If you got some maps or mutators you want us to add to the mix to keep it exciting and fresh, let me know on the Discord server or on Twitter or wherever you contact
That's
me.
right.
You can send a text or email.
Also, we have watched we're doing some watch party stuff, and today we're doing another one because thankfully I don't have shit in the way today. I don't have stuff in my way. So we're going to do this today right after the show. We're going to hop into our Discord theater room. It's called the Play Retro Theater. It's just a stage on Discord. Anybody can get in there. And we're going to watch another X-Men episode from the animated series, from the original series, not the new one. We're going to get to the rest of those. We've already done 2 of them for patrons. But this is for everybody. I'll also put it up on Patreon so they have the video archive of it. But we're going to go in there. We're going to watch this thing today and have a great time. So if you're here watching live and you want to come hang out with us right after the show, frogpants.com/Discord if you're not already in our Discord. If you already are, it doesn't matter whether you are or aren't. We don't have any special hoops to jump through. You're just in. And we have a whole group for Play Retro. And one of the new channels is the Play Retro Theater. So hop in.
Yeah.
Be a part of that coming up here shortly. Brian, next week. Oh, I didn't even play oh no, that's because we didn't do it. Never mind. We're gonna do Excite Bike next.
Yeah,
that's right. Listen, I'm excited. That game was huge. The arcade version, which is essentially the NES version, is the one I played the most. We had it on one of those Play 10 machines that Nintendo made.
Yes.
We should talk about those sometime. Like those are so weird.
We're going to talk about that a little bit because we're not going to just talk about the Excite Bike NES GBA Virtual Console versions. We're going to talk about. I'm interested in seeing where the Japanese went because they made a whole bunch of Excite Bike stuff that continued on, but we didn't get here in the U.S. until the Virtual Console came out. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, I am too. And I think I don't know, it's underrated as a series. I think that. I don't know. It may have been hard to do this, but as we saw on the Wii, they tried to make a game that was called Excite Bike or Excite Truck. Do you remember that?
Yes,
and
Excite Truck.
Yeah, they were trying to revive the IP, but it was nothing like Excite Bike. It was like zero connection, and it didn't do very well. And that's all we've ever seen since then. So I don't know if it's due for a revival or not, but Excite Bike's special place in my heart for that game. right here.
The thing that got me, that got my attention is one of the first things that you see in the promo stuff for the Nintendo World Championships that are returning in 2024. You can pick up this big kit that's got all these games in it, so that you can do your speed runs and your challenges and everything. Comes with a commemorative cart, I guess you'd say, like a gold cart that's supposed to represent these different games not playable. You have to have the regular game for that. But Excite Bike was one of the ones that's in there, and I was like, oh yeah, I could probably be a world champion Excite Bike player.
Why not?
No, I suck.
No, you could totally do it. I can see your future, and you're in. It's all there. It's there for you.
It's exciting.
It's
The only
very
reason why I would win Excite Bike World Championship is because no one else is interested in playing Excite Bike. That'd be the only way that I would be able to win.
I understand.
Lack of interest.
I understand completely. Man, you would have had a fight with. You would have been on my side, but yesterday, Bo, because they were talked about the games that made it into the Hall of Fame this year, and that just happened.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame. Video
and we've
games.
covered every one of those games here on Play Retro, by the way.
Pretty close
I was
to
looking
it.
because I was thinking, oh, we got to do an episode on some of these that made it in. I'm like, oh, we've already done an episode on all these.
Yep, the one that made it in this year. So the ones that all made it in this year: Ultima, SimCity, Resident Evil, Myst, and Asteroids. And Bo is like, take Asteroids off there. That game's stupid. Why would that be on there?
What,
dude? You cannot talk smack about Asteroids.
But it's so important.
I agree.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's so important.
That's how important it is. And not only that, like, I'm surprised it took them this many years to get it in there. That's how important it is.
Yeah. I'm surprised it wasn't already in there.
First year went to Doom, Pac-Man, Pong, Super Mario Brothers, Tetris, and World of Warcraft. All deserving. Okay, all deserving.
Yeah, absolutely.
The next year, Grand Theft Auto 3, The Legend of Zelda, Oregon Trail, The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Space Invaders. These are all worthy. Okay?
Yeah.
Even some of the newer stuff. Halo Combat Evolved made it in 2017 with Donkey Kong, Pokemon Red and Green, and Street Fighter 2. But it took this long to get Asteroids. Freaking mother effing Asteroids should have always been in there. That's right. That game rocks. All right. So kiss my butt, Bo. Just kidding. I love that.
Kiss my butt, Bo.
Yeah.
Bo butt kiss.
Bo butt kiss. I'm Bo butt kiss. And I play for the Raiders. All right. Let's see. I don't know why it sounded like a football player. Where are we now? So we know what we're going to do. We're going to cover that Excite Bike. Watch for that next week. It's going to be fantastic. In the meantime, I'd like to thank everybody who supports us on Patreon. And there are a bunch of reasons why being on there helps us, but also reasons that you benefit. For example, you'll listen to the show and never have any kind of ad of any kind. It just is ad-free 100%. You're paying a very small amount.
You can connect that through Spotify, right?
Yes, you can. You can do it either through their player, you can paste it into your own favorite player, or if you're already using Spotify and you want to keep everything together, they have a way of pulling in the feeds you support on Patreon. You'll get them as if they're just there, but for anyone else, they don't have access to them. You get them as a patron. So hop in there, check it out. You get pre-show content every week from us, a little fun pre-show that we always record and post up there. Uninterrupted video stream archive. That's what I was trying to say. Anyway, patreon.com/playretro. Be one of those fine people today. And thank you to everybody who already supports the show. Email us, playretroshow@gmail.com. You can also keep those texts coming, voicemails coming, 801-471-0462. And our website is frogpants.com/playretro. That's going to do it for us. Brian, is there anything you'd like to say to these people before we, shut the door here?
Follow me.
Follow him.
Sorry.
Follow Brian and play something retro. We'll see you next week.
Hello.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
It's a bone.
Yeah, it's a bone.
It's a bone.